Warren Buffett, chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, has captured our attention for decades with common-sense wisdom that stretches far beyond wealth and investment. Buffett's strategies for conducting good business, or living the good life, rest on important decisions that could make or break our very livelihoods, and the livelihood of our businesses. Take, for example, decisions surrounding whom you should hire to take your company forward. The 92-year-old billionaire once delivered this gem, when speaking of hiring his own people. The cost of not having integrity. Integrity is a personal value that should be explored in depth but is often overlooked in interviews, which can be costly later, especially as people move up the ranks to the upper levels of a company's hierarchy. Nobody wants a dumb and lazy employee, but, to Buffett's point, that's exactly what you'll get when you hire a smart and motivated worker who lacks integrity. When we arrive at the crossroads of difficult decisions, even the smallest action can ruin our reputation and trigger an avalanche of unfortunate events that may be out of our control. On a larger, systemic level, a lack of integrity can devastate a business, as we have seen with the fall of companies like Enron and WorldCom. Enter integrity as a leadership virtue that packs a moral business punch. As the famous saying goes, we act with integrity by always doing the right thing, even when no one is looking, and especially when the choice isn't easy. Warren Buffett understands that everyone, especially managers, will face situations that call for integrity to show up and push back against corporate temptations to manipulate numbers, hide losses, take shortcuts, or take advantage of employees and customers alike. Integrity starts at the top. Leaders at the highest levels are the thermostats for integrity within their companies. Through their words and actions, leaders create the environment in which everyone operates. Rob Chestnut, author of Intentional Integrity: How Smart Companies Can Lead an Ethical Revolution, spent 4 years as Airbnb's General Counsel and Chief Integrity Officer. He shared with me on my podcast that, according to data, organizations that are perceived to act with integrity outperform their competitors. Plain and simple, consumers favor doing business with companies whose values align with theirs, Chestnut points out. Not surprisingly, when I asked Chestnut how leaders can demonstrate integrity when laying people off, Chestnut responded that leaders must be the first ones to make the sacrifice of a salary deduction. Also, they should exemplify humility, servanthood and compassion in helping former employees transition. How else can we, as leaders, intentionally demonstrate practical integrity to help safeguard our businesses and the people in them? It starts with transparency and vulnerability. Chestnut says we need to talk openly about uncomfortable subjects, be clear about what expectations are, and remove ambiguity. If you make a mistake as a company, Chestnut says, you can't bury it, ignore it, or pretend it didn't happen. You need to have the self-awareness to acknowledge that you made a mistake and talk openly about where you failed. Once you've done that, you can set a new path forward to how you're going to get back on track, but it needs to be done in a clean way. You can't just change your behavior suddenly and hope people notice. You need to have that conversation.